What's up, guys? Nathan here, also known as Lil Oki the Monk on US Proudmoore, back again with another key commentary for you guys. So today we're going to have a Plaguefall plus 19, and I know I said I had a few more from the Tyrannical week that just got finished. I think it was Tyrannical, Inspiring, Necrotic, and I did, but we just timed our first 20, so I feel like I kind of want to just move on from the 19 range. So instead of focusing in on that week, we're just going to post some a couple. I think it's going to be my last 19 from this week, and then from then on out, I'm going to try to save this channel for 20 plus keys, or maybe like slightly lower keys if they're hard affixes in a hard dungeon or something. Anyway, this is the first Plaguefall key that I've ever posted on this channel, so that's kind of exciting for me. So I'm going to do my best to sort of talk through it and explain how we do things. And right off the bat, I'm just going to say, typically what we try to do for this key is I try to play my Death Knight. Just so we can get the necro buffs. The necro buffs are very strong. You can get 25% haste, 10% damage reduction, and a little, I don't say or, you can get them all at the same time for the last boss, and a little nature damage proc type thing. It's kind of like Zap from, what was that, John? From Junkyard and BFA, but not quite as much damage. So right here, we're just doing a little double pull to save some time. You can do that first pull combined with this if you really want, but that's like kind of a lot of stuff to kick for, our small brains. So we're just doing our best to work our way through these here. As you guys probably know, there is a strategy you can do with mages, and you can see Sev is already getting to work on it, which is after the ability Wonder Grow casts, which gives a big damage buff to the minion that casts it. You can spell steal it, and it can actually just stack up. So if you're running with a mage, don't kick Wonder Grow. He won't be very happy with you. And you can see my warrior just died there to a mechanic called Mighty Bash. And we like to meme on it a lot. Mighty Swing. I actually just got hit by it, but I lived because my character is very high in versatility. But Mighty Bash is one of those abilities, and there's a handful of them in this expansion, it's basically like a little gray cast bar, very quick, and it targets the tank. But if there's nobody, if the tank is not nearby, he just sort of, hits somebody, just sort of melees somebody nearby, but it's a very big melee. The Mighty Bash is, well, mighty. So don't recommend standing near that. Basically, it's designed to sort of force your tank to face tank rather than, kite nonstop, because ever since Legion, I think Blizzard has been wary of, tanks kiting nonstop throughout the dungeon. Ironically, there's so much tank damage in this expansion that is like, it's now at an all-time high, but still, that's kind of the design of abilities like that. And our goal here is to make sure the tank is in melee range, or at least none of the melee are standing nearby when he casts it, because if they do, if that does happen, then there's a high chance that somebody's going to die. So affixes this week, I probably should talk about the affixes a little bit. It's Quaking Sanguine, and Quaking Sanguine I think is widely considered, it's either the best, like the absolute best push week, or one of the better push weeks. I'm not sure what the consensus is, but as you guys can tell probably from just personal experience, it's a pretty easy affix. The only downside is if you have like 3 melee DPS, it can be kind of annoying to deal with Quaking, and we actually run with the Holy Paladin, so that is actually kind of maximum levels annoying without literally trolling with 3 melee DPS. So you have to be a little bit careful about Quaking, but it's not too bad. As long as we plan around it, it's not too big of a deal. We've sort of since come up with the strategy of I try to stand on the butt of the mob, my healer tries to stand on the left side of the mob, and my warrior tries to stand on the right side of the mob, and then of course the tank stands in the front of the mob. And if we just sort of manage to keep that strategy up, then it's not too big of a deal. We still quake each other sometimes, but I mean, nobody's perfect. Like right there, I'm pretty sure I just quaked somebody, or somebody quaked me, one of the two. These slimes can be deceptively annoying, because if you pop them all at the same time, they do like a little explosion. And if you don't do a good job of, popping them sort of in a staggered manner, you'll kind of just take a ton of damage. And this is I did this entire key, and I actually kind of forgot I was supposed to play my Death Knight, but we had been running my Death Knight for the necro buffs in this dungeon. And I think we had, actually, I want to say, we had an 18 on my Death Knight. I play Frost Death Knight, and I probably will be uploading some Frost Death Knight stuff to this channel. My DK is not nearly as geared as my monk, and I'm not as good at it. And obviously, Breath of Cinderghost is a little bit more punishing to make mistakes on than, Windwalker is, but it doesn't really matter. We're bringing it just for the necro buffs in the dungeons. So I still want to upload eventually when we do sort of time some higher keys with that character, just to, showcase the power of having multiple high level characters available ready to go for your key push groups. So we're just knocking these guys out slowly but surely. Trying to kill these plague belchers. Unfortunately, just like the nature of this pull, it's very easily to have him take a little bath in Sanguine, but that's why we're focusing down the slimes first. I guess I'm deciding I want to kill the slimy morsels right now. Usually we would just ignore those and CC them. I'm not really sure why I felt the need to do that. I'm trolling a little bit here. That didn't make any sense. I just wasted a ton of time on those mobs. Maybe I felt like padding on AoE. I don't know. Probably not. That's not really something I would do, I think. I'm just being stupid. So we're knocking these guys out slowly but surely. This is fortified. I think this might have been like our first or like second key of the week too. And obviously we've seen these affixes before. We've been doing Mythic Plus for a while now, but I really think there's something to be said for just doing some keys at the start of the week, just to sort of get the hang of the affixes and sort of remind yourself what things you have to worry about, what things you're playing around. Oh, that was a huge hunt crit right there. That removed like 10% of his life right off the bat. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're probably just trying to remember like, hey, this is how fortified feels. This is how we need to be committing cooldowns. I'm sure people that have been doing like Mythic Plus every single day, like since like Legion or whatever, probably have it all internalized, but for me anyway, it really helps to sort of have like a couple warm-up keys at the start of the week to sort of get the hang of the affixes all over again. And once again, I'm saving Touch of Death for the Pride. I actually didn't TOD at all this dungeon. And that's a huge mistake because these pulls went very quickly. So I very easily, or they kind of took a while. So I could have easily Touch of Death like a problem mob, like one of the Doom Shrooms or something early on. And that was kind of my mistake. So we're going to be blowing up our boy Glawbrog here. He's not going to be too challenging. This is he doesn't even have 2 million life, I think, because it's fortified. So this guy's just getting absolutely bodied right now. And I don't think, I think I just karma that one. I don't dispel it. On Tyrannical, I would probably either Fort Brew Karma or dispel it or diffuse. I wouldn't just pop karma because just karma alone is only like an absorb for like 50% of my life, and that ticks very hard. Pair the mob, keep going here. Well, I only commit my second SEF charge right now. Wow, holy shit, I must have misplayed my rotation very hard there, because typically the way you want to play monk cooldowns is you want to pop Weapons of the Order, pop Zuen, pop your SEF charge, and then as the first SEF charge ends, just sort of pop another SEF charge to sort of, get that maximum burst damage in there. I guess, I don't know. Maybe I didn't have an SEF charge until later on. No big deal though. It's just a fortified boss. We don't need to like completely maximize our damage on that. That boss can get a little bit hairy. I don't think we timed this key, but there was a key we did where I was on my Death Knight for this dungeon, and I made the very large mistake of popping my Abomination Limb on that boss, like right as the big slimes were coming out, and I was not quick enough to sort of right-click off the buff. I literally like gripped in the big slime onto the boss, and that was a dead key. That was that was a bit on the embarrassing side, let me tell you. If that happened in a pug, oh my god, I like would have like lost my mind. But at least it was like happening with my friends or whatever, so nobody's like, hating me. Well, maybe they're hating me, but at least they won't say it. Out of sight, out of mind, right? So we're doing this little pull here. We kind of have to like backtrack a little and grab these fungi guys. It just has something to do with the root. If you don't do it, it's a little bit hard to get pride exactly where you want it. There's actually, I think there's actually a pride coming up here that I don't know if we invis or not, but there's a pride coming up that's a very good candidate for invising, and I will talk about it when we get there if we do end up doing that. Oh, so we're doing a triple pull here. This is some hot shit right here. Let's see if I manage to die. I have like a very impressive death rate to the Festering Belch on this specific pull. I have no idea why. Like specifically this pull, never like any other instance of the Blighted Spinebreaker do I manage to die to. But I don't know. I impress myself. every time. Okay, looks like I managed to not die to it. Do I TOD this guy? I do not TOD this guy. I almost take a lovely ground effect to the face there. That was a little bit dangerous. Whirling Dragon Punch. It's kind of funny because I used to play a Dragoon in Final Fantasy 14. I have to step on this. It's a lot of damage, but if I don't step on it, we're fucked. Actually, my warrior could have got it. I should have let her get it. I'm actually not sure how the mechanic on those ground effects work. They're very bizarre. One is I feel like they stack up in damage, right? Which is very weird. I could be wrong, but it feels like the first one tickles, the second one hits hard, and the third one's like a one shot. That's how it always feels to me. Maybe that's just like in my head, but that's how it feels. The other mechanic that sort of is weird about it is that it clearly looks like a magic or like maybe even like a disease or nature damage, but it's actually physical. So you can actually bop and walk over them and you take no damage. And then even weirder on all of that is you can also spell reflect it. So even though it's a physical damage, you can spell reflect, walk over it. And I believe the first one you walk over, you just literally won't take damage from. You'll just reflect it. So my warrior usually tries to get most of them because obviously she reflects the first one. And then for the subsequent ones, she's also a plate wearer. So it should get reduced by physical damage. But that ground effect is really weird. It operates on some very odd rules, in my opinion. So this is the pull here that I was talking about. I just sort of leg sweep them here so my tank doesn't have to get more corroded claws than necessary. I walk away because I get afraid of the corroded claws. How silly is that? But yeah, so after this pull here, we're going to get a Prideful. And I'm curious to see, as you can see, these guys are trying to troll our key right now. I'm not going to let that happen. That's what we're going to pieces for. I was like holding it. I wasn't sure if I was going to need to commit it. Okay, we get the Pride right here. Oh, we don't have a choice. Yeah. So we don't actually have a choice here because we have to step on these things. So unfortunately, we don't get to invis it. We could have maybe invised it had we had we killed the big guy first. Also, that was, I don't know if you guys saw that there, but I absolutely threaded the needle on that on that belligerent boast cast. I had it on me and I saw where my tank was. I saw where my warrior was, and I just like threaded it right in between them. Would have been a very embarrassing fuck up had I hit my warrior, though. She would have been mad at me. So we're just knocking this Pride out. It's getting a little bit dicey, but you know, we're trying to kill this Pride as best we can. Look at our life. Oh my lord, that's embarrassing. Yeah, that was kind of bad. I could have popped Diffuse early on. I also had health pots and stuff. That was really, really silly. There was no reason for me to die there. I don't know what the state of defensives were or the state of health pots were on my other characters, on my other people. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm on my other party members, but I personally really did not need to die there. Let's see if we get quaked here. Nobody quakes each other, or at least I don't quake anyone, which is what matters. Okay, I set up my ROP because usually only the close one pulls, but the long one decided it wanted to pull this time, so that was unfortunate. So these guys are going to blow up. We just back up here. They instantly kill the tentacle, and then we move on to the next tentacle. Yeah, the way we do this kind of pull here can be kind of annoying for quaking, but you know, we just do our best. Fun fact for those of you that are not aware, you can actually get a weak aura that shows the quaking timer. It doesn't tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt whether or not you're going to get quaking, but it does tell you when there's a chance of you get quaking, because quaking operates on an internal timer where it can only go off like every so often. And I think it's something like every 20 or maybe like 15 seconds. You have a chance to get quaked. And there goes my warrior dying to like the weirdest thing. We weren't sure what that was at the time. It was like she got like meleeed by a tentacle or something that she wasn't in range of. I think maybe we moved on from that tentacle too quickly, and maybe she got like vile spat. But that was a very weird death. I remember at the time we were just like, wait, what happened? Nobody knew. But yeah, anyway, like I was saying, you can get a weak aura for tracking quaking, and it's very useful. The only reason why I don't use mine, I use it is because Sykes has one, and I've just totally gotten used to her just like calling it out, like maybe quaking 5, maybe quaking 5, maybe quacking 5. And that's pretty useful. If I was like pugging or, you know, if I didn't just have the benefit of somebody who already liked calling it out or chose to call it out, I'm not sure which of the two it is. I would definitely be using said weak aura. Okay, let's see if we can get him to pop here. Yep, excellent. We popped him. He's got the big dot on him now. He's just totally ticking down. These little guys here, you can get them to explode on literally anything, and they will put a very nasty disease debuff on anything they hit, whether it be, you know, player or enemy. Not really sure how he got the vile. That looked like the vile taint debuff there. I'm so confused. Am I dead? No, I'm not dead. That would have been embarrassing death. I caught myself like in the middle of 2 swirlies without a roll. That would have been bad. That would have been a very embarrassing death. I had Flying Serpent Kit and Tiger's List though, so. Okay, so he's having me paralyze the purple slime, just so it can't do the jump mechanic. For those of you who don't know, the purple slime has a very irritating jump mechanic. So I'm going to kick something. Can I kick here? Yes, I kicked. Good for me. That's actually, also, okay, so the purple slime is like the buggiest piece of shit in this game. That was really close to being death right there. But so the purple slime will do a mechanic where it puts a circle on somebody, and then at the end of the circle, it will jump to that person. I think it puts a really stupid like negative haste debuff on the person while also just doing a shit ton of damage. But it's really stupid how it works. Like if you CC it, the circle will persist. So like that purple slime there was completely CC'd, right? But it was still putting the stupid purple circle on people. Like we had no way of knowing that, you know, that was just fake. We just happened to realize, oh wait, he's actually CC'd. It's no big deal. But that also happens if you stun him in the middle of the purple circle cast. I think it's called Withering Blight, maybe. We'll see. He's probably going to cast it here. Hopefully he casts it here so we get the name, but it'll show the circle on the person like it's going to jump to them, right? There it is, Withering Filth. But if you stun it, okay, nobody stunned it. That was cringe. If you stun it, the circle will persist. Man, I'm trying to like show examples here. Oh, and I see here more favoritism with my healer coming out here. 3 people get the haste debuff. My warrior gets the cleanse. Okay, I see how it is, Sid. But yeah, that cast can be interrupted very easily with you know, paralyze. I think you can ring a piece it maybe, but you can definitely paralyze it and leg sweep it. Oh, and I got my cleanse. Thank goodness. But yeah, it's really annoying how you can literally stun the cast, but the circle will persist. So you're sitting there and you're just wondering like, well, what the fuck is this going to hit me? Do I need to worry about this big scary like marker on my head? I really would like them to fix that. It's just like in a sea of like pretty polished things in this game, like seeing something like that is so jarring. There I go, kicking into my Demon Hunter again. What's new? We're just knocking these guys out here. Nothing special. My mage chooses to combust this pack, and I'm really glad he did. I think that was a really good call. I'm still getting used to like running with Fire Mage. It's just like, it's super weird with like the whole like combust farming thing, you know? Like he has a 2-minute cooldown on combust. And then I see him use it, but then I realize, hey, it doesn't really matter because he's going to be able to farm that combust up again by the time he needs it. It's a very, very cool mechanic. Borderline broken, but who cares? He's on my team. He's not against me, so why would I cause an issue? Actually, when I'm PvPing, I cause an issue about fire mages, but that's for a different video. So we're working our way through this pride. Again, we save Touch of Death to make this as easy as possible. I think my tank called for somebody to commit cooldowns here. I guess I was greedy this time. Or maybe he specifically called for the Blade Storm. I don't know. But either way, it was a good cooldown because we're dipping here. You know what? It's probably because last time we died and she was like, I'm not having this. Sykes is a very defensive player. So like if there's like a risk of death, like and it can be avoided, like she's going to make the call that makes it so that we don't die. So we're knocking out our boy Dr. Ickis. This is one of my least favorite fights in Shadowlands. I really hate how like, what's the word? Like artificially long it feels, I guess. Maybe that's the wrong word, but I really dislike this fight. I also really dislike his jumping mechanic like this, because for me, I personally struggle to see which direction he's facing sometimes. Like, I wish there was like maybe like an arrow or something that like pointed the direction he was facing. Because like the way the mechanic works, right, is oh, good thing I kicked that burning strain. That would have been a big ouchie had we not kicked it. The way it works, right, is he jumps in a certain direction, and the direction he's jumping, there is a line of bad that comes out both perpendicular and sort of like parallel to where he's facing. So you can kind of just dodge it. You have to make sure you're not in that plus shape coming out from him, and that's all you have to do. But for me, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like a brainlet, but I very often find it very hard to tell which direction he's facing. So we're just going to keep murdering Ickis here. He's around 500k life. Combust just came up. We're going to kill him. We'll see if Sev combusts the ball or the... Okay, yeah, he chose to combust the boss here. I actually think that's probably the right call. Oh, but the Withering Filth spawned. That's so unfortunate. Okay, but we feared it. Cool. So I'm just going to help finish this guy off here. We have a couple of ways we can sort of do this boss, and one of the more common strategies that we have is we like to fear out the purple slime that spawns. We can also haymaker it out with the Coltiran racial. We can also use Ring of Peace to get it out. I can paralyze it. But the point is we want to kind of get that purple slime away from us, because the purple slime puts a buff on nearby enemies to make them take significantly less damage. I'm not sure how big it is, but I think the one... Okay, so the one you get, like if you fleshcraft the slime, is like only 10%, but I think the one that the enemies get is much bigger. It's like 50% or something. So we're going to kill this tentacle here. Fun fact, this is like, I'm sure most of you guys recognize this pull, and you're like, right now, you're like, what the heck? You can't kill the slime right there. It's very annoying. It's going to put a thing on the ground. You won't be able to stand in it. And I punch it out because I'm stupid. But then I realize it doesn't actually matter because we have a demon hunter. And the only reason why I put shit on the ground is actually because, we punch it out for sanguine. That's why. Okay. Never mind. My brain is bigger than I thought. But the main reason why it doesn't drop the big green shit on the ground that people are, infinitely irritated by. I just blackout kicked like 3 times in a row. What the heck? Okay. You can actually purge that with Demon Hunter is the point I was going for. Sorry it took me so long to get to that. Yeah, we're just going to pop off here. I really hate this pull. It feels so like messy, like infinitely messy. Like especially with like sanguine, there's like so much green shit on the ground. There's like casts that like give the enemies like immunities. There's like casts that like do a lot of damage and need to be kicked. I don't know. It's just a very claustrophobic feeling pull, but it's definitely the best way to time this key. Okay, we're gonna mount up, but not in the sanguine. Wow, good for me. Let's see if we manage to not pull this tentacle. We pull this tentacle like, I don't know, like 20% of the time somebody accidentally butt pulls it. Okay, now we have to see how good we are dealing with stealthlings. So the Brood Ambusher, this is like, my tank always talks about how like every trash pack in this game is like dangerous and has like literal mechanics you have to do. And I really do, I agree on a greater sense, but I also, in a very micro sense, this mob is like so demonstrative of that sort of mindset. Not mindset, I don't know what's the word of that design philosophy. Look how many mechanics this guy has. He has ambush. He jumps at somebody and like one shots them from behind. He does a cast that doesn't do anything during the cast, but after it goes out, it roots everybody while the cast continues to go off, and you can choose not to kick the cast so he doesn't do other mechanics. And then he has stealthlings, which is a cast where he throws at a bunch of little mobs, and if you don't look where the mobs are going, you won't know where they are because they're invisible. And if you don't interrupt them during their cast, they'll all jump on you and one-shot you. Oh, this is kind of bad. We're rooted here. I choose to Tiger's List that so I don't accidentally quake everyone. My healer was right next to me. She was like, I'm going to freaking freedom this. I don't blame you. But yeah, that's what this mob is. This mob is just a whole mess of mechanics. It's very annoying. Do we manage to stop it? We rop it. He shouldn't cast again. Okay, cool. Stealthings is also a very weird cast. It used to repeat non-stop, right? Like it would always repeat itself no matter what. And then they changed it so it like would only repeat itself like a few times, but it still repeats itself like 3 times, I think. So you need to have like, I think it's either 3 or 4 stops. It might vary. There might be some like element of RNG as to whether or not it's 3 or 4 that you need, but you need to stop stealthings definitely more than once to prevent it from going off in the end. And then the other mobs around it aren't really a slouch either. They're not as scary, but honestly, this mob himself isn't even necessarily that scary. He just is kind of overloaded on mechanics you have to interact with. But you have Defender of Many Eyes, which of course needs to be stunned or, stopped in some way during his bulwark of Maldraxxus. You have, who's this guy? Venomous Sniper, and he just shoots random people, which is really annoying for your healer. But then he also does Call Venom Fang, which summons like a spider mob that actually just like hits your tank really hard. So like kick that there, which is good. It's a really good thing to kick because there's not actually anything else that you need to kick in this pull. You need to stop a lot of stuff, but Venom Sniper is the only thing that needs like a true interrupt effect. Bulwark goes out. We stop it instantly, probably with like a Paralyze and a Hodge at the same time. Realistically, that's probably what happened. And then we knock out the sniper here. So we're moving on here. We are almost completely done with significant trash in this dungeon. The only trash that we have left is we'll have to do like a little baby pull after this boss. And then we're going to have to do the stuff downstairs, which is not really that scary. Oh, wow. That was a high level hunt there. During this key right here, if I recall correctly, we were memeing our Demon Hunter about the fact that he needs to really maximize his style points when using the hunt. And it's really just a multifaceted sort of challenge. You have to both get a lot of distance from the enemy. You need to make sure you do a fancy backflip before getting said distance. And you need to make sure you yell hunt at the highest volume possible. The hunt, that's it. But yeah, so that's very important. It causes your hunt to have a higher chance to crit if you yell the hunt before using it. It's a little known fact, but very important. So we're going to pop up on this boss. This boss has like not even 2 million life, so he's pretty easy. We're going to get out here. I'm going to press my defensives. He's going to go on me, and I'm going to take no damage while also getting a full value karma. Feels good, man. And I'm like, I really want to get my Pelagos orbs, but they're like slightly too far away for me to like miss globals. Is like, just irritates me ever so slightly. Very scary charge by my warrior, but I know she would not intentionally hit anybody. I don't think we've ever trolled anybody in with this boss, but I've definitely fucked up before. I think what I did at one point was I had the circle on me, right? And I meant to roll backwards. Like you can input back and roll at the same time, and your character will cast roll, but he'll roll backwards instead of forwards. And I forgot to input back, and I rolled forwards instead. I'm pretty sure I hit like 2 people or 3 people or something. We didn't actually wipe on that run, but oh my God, was that an embarrassing error? That was just a straight up mispressing numbers or mispressing buttons. And then here, I think my healer is reminding my tank, hey, we need like 2 more percent. And he's like, oh yeah, I know. So fun fact about this slime tentacle. This slime tentacle actually is like the fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger of slime tentacles. His vile spit cast cannot be kicked. His crushing embrace, he cannot be stunned. So this guy just dicks on you. Like when I got crushing embrace there and I didn't have karma or fort brew, I literally was like, okay, I'm dead. And my healer took that personally. So yeah, I also have I have forbearance on me. So I probably got like LOH'd or something. Probably bop would have been a safer play, but that doesn't really matter. I actually wonder if I get bopped if he drops me. He probably just stops doing damage to me. Yeah, we're going down here. Got to kill these slimes. I think if you go down with like 83%, you need to get these 3 slimes or you won't have enough percent to finish the dungeon. So we're knocking out these slimes here. And there's not much to be said here. Oh, there's the Withering Filth cast, by the way. Do you see how we stunned it? We Stormbolted it, yet the circle with the arrow over my head persists. God, that is one of the most annoying things to me about this game. I know it's like a really tiny thing, but it's very annoying. But so anyway, this little pull right here is why it's really good to bring a Necrolord to this dungeon, because you get that 25% haste, basically a free bloodlust effect, and you get that 10% damage reduction. You also get that little nature damage proc, but again, that thing's not that big. But the 10% damage reduction is really nice for this boss. because Infectious Rain is a cast that this boss has. It puts a disease debuff on you that just chunks you, and it stacks up to 4 times. There's a couple ways you can sort of deal with it, but if you don't cleanse it, which is obviously the most easiest way to deal with any disease in this game is going to be to cleanse the disease debuff. If you don't have an ability to cleanse it, you need to like pop major personals for it. And if you like don't want to commit major personals to like a cast that isn't really avoidable, then you need to be getting that 10% damage reduction there. And I totally forgot to bring my DK to this dungeon. I do promise next time we do a Plaguefall, I will bring my DK to this, and you guys will get to see, instead of a nice spring green rectangle in the bottom left hand corner, we can use a nice crimson red to represent my edginess when I play my Death Knight. So we're just knocking out these pulls here. This is this is not like a super scary set of pulls for monks, because you're not usually going to rip threat without popping a cooldown, and monks actually don't rip threats when they pop cooldowns. Fun fact, actually, a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people don't know this, but this is one thing that makes monks really cool. Our damage, our personal damage from ourself actually goes down when you use Storm, Earth, Wind, and Fire, because what Storm, Earth, Wind, Fire, right, does is it reduces your damage by, I think it's like, I want to say by like 35% or something. It's either 35 or 45%. But then it splits you into 3 things. So it basically causes your damage to be coming from 3 different sources. And then you pop Zuen, which at the end of the day is a pet. So you're not generating threat from Zuen. Zuen generates his own threat. Although I've never seen him rip off a tank before, because his damage is kind of based on your damage a little bit. So this pull, like I was saying, is kind of scary because you can rip threat off your tank and then just get meleeed for half your life. But monks in particular have it very easy with threat. And I'll probably maybe talk about that a little bit more maybe on the next The Other Side, because there's that big pull in Ardenweald that, my mage inevitably, rips like at least a little bit of aggro from my tank on, but I never have any trouble. And at the end of that pull, sometimes I'll actually have done more damage than my mage. Usually not, but I mean, my point is like you can still do good damage and not rip threat as Windwalker Monk, which is totally me going off on a tangent, but just something worth noting. Anyway, we're back again. We're doing this Prideful. Totally just got off on the wrong track. I'm sorry about that. But we're knocking this guy out here. And at this point, I just commit all my cooldowns to this guy. I don't care at all, because this boss does not allow you to get good Pride uptime at all. And nobody else was using cooldowns. I could see my mage was using Shifting Power and farming his Combust up. My warrior gets a lot of value on this boss because it has a really important execute phase and like a really important opening above 80% phase, so she can just condemn the fuck out of this boss. Very good stuff. Whereas I don't get that much value. Try not to soak that slime thing. And there's the Infectious Rain I was talking about. Again, this is fortified, so like not that scary. And also we only got 1 stack. That's something you can do on this boss that's really neat, is if you phase the boss fast enough, sometimes you can get no Infectious Rain at all, which is ideal. But more realistically, you only get like 1 or 2 stacks of Infectious Rain. Like Infectious Rain will go out, but then like when she's halfway through the cast, she'll hit whatever the health threshold is. I want to say it's like 70% life or something. I guess it's 65% life, we can see right here. And then the cast will just stop and she'll phase, and you won't have to take any more disease stacks. But unfortunately, the Infectious Rain cast does come a little bit quicker during the second phase. You could technically skip it, right, with enough damage, but that's like not realistic to expect. So here we go. We get the Infectious Rain. What do I do here? Okay, so I think what I did is I Karma Fort Brewed myself, which is a massive absorb, so I basically take no damage, and then I cleanse my warrior. So instantly my healer no longer has to worry about 2 people. And that's something I like to do on this boss. You always have a cleanse, and you will usually have something for yourself as well. What I do personally is I will usually cleanse one other person, or Karma, and then Karma Fort Brew, cleanse one other person, diffuse magic, or cleanse one other person, File of Serenity. And if you rotate all 3 of those, you can generally just sort of never, have to have your healer worrying about yourself. So I'm letting the stacks go off. Let's see what I do here. Oh, I diffused this one. Okay, so I actually diffused it at the start. Kind of a error there. I didn't even cleanse anyone. God, I'm such a garbage player. That's funny. What I should have done there is cleansed Sykes because I used diffuse. I used diffuse early. I should have diffused after the debuffs went out. But there we go. That's the Plaguefall 19. Very easy key. Very easy affixes this week. And like I said, we timed our first 20. It was a Necrotic Wake, and I really look forward to uploading that. Probably not going to upload any more 19s. Just going to sort of stick to the 20 plus range because, my group is improving and we're trying to push higher and higher keys. And I look forward to sharing those with you. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about Windwalker or keys or anything like that, feel free to leave them below. And I'll catch you next time.